Hello everyone, this is the math lesson for Tuesday, April 7th. We are on page 371 and this is develop skip counting by fives, tens, and hundreds. So the first question says, Lewis is skip counting by tens. He starts at 235 or the next six numbers that Lewis writes. So you can do an example where you can draw the lines. So you can go, I need six more times. What would the numbers be on each of those lines? Let's do a little example of skip counting by tens. If I start with the number 120, I'm going to count by tens, I can do what would this next six numbers be? 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. So those would be the next six numbers if I was counting by tens. Now, I could also do a math problem. If I start with 120 and I add 10, I would have 130. If I then have 130 and I add 10, I now have 140. If I have 140 and I add 10, I have 150. So when you were skip counting by any number, twos, fives, tens, hundreds, you are basically adding to the previous number with a math problem with the addition. So this is an example of skip counting by tens for starting with 120. In your book, it is talking about starting at 245. So go ahead. Oh no, 235. Sorry about that. So go ahead and pause the video and do that math. All right, let's go ahead now to page 372. This kind of shows you some answers to the question with Lewis and how many numbers is he going to have after he counts by 10. So it's showing that you can use a number chart and a number line, and it's showing the jumps with the adding 10. You can also do use a hundreds chart if you have one, starting with 235. And you can see how if I'm adding 10 each time, you can see what those numbers are. So that's just a little way. So make sure you read that to see some other examples. On page 373 are some examples of skip counting and adding by tens. So go ahead and do that, as well as page 374. Now on 374, you're going to be counting forwards and backwards. So it's the same concept. If you're doing the backwards way, it would be minus. So if I have 120 and I'm going to count backwards by tens, I'm going to subtract. So it would be 110, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60. And these actually become subtraction problems. 120 minus 10 is 110, my first number. 110 minus 10 equals 100. 100 minus 10 equals 90. And you can see the pattern of subtracting. When I'm counting backwards by tens, I am subtracting from that number. So when you're counting up, you're adding. When you're counting backwards, you are subtracting. So look at page 374 and you can see some examples and some practice for you counting forwards and backwards. Two more pages you can work on. There's only 5 more questions. It won't take very long at all. Page 375, 376, and is using different methods for you to figure out and do the skip counting by fives, tens, and hundreds. So if you have any questions, have your mom or dad phone or text or email me, and we can figure this out together. All right, until next time, goodbye.